Welcome back to FOXSOUL's Black Report. Well, May is National Foster Care Awareness Month, and this month we have been highlighting organizations and stories regarding this very important topic to my heart.
That's right, and one of the biggest challenges of foster care today is finding permanent families for young adults, teens, preteens in foster care.
That's right, and joining us now is Jennifer Pinder, Executive Director of You Gotta Believe, an organization who's a champion of awareness and hope for young adults, teens, and preteens in foster care. Welcome to FOXSOUL's Black Report, Jennifer.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for being here. And so first things first, tell us about the You Gotta Believe organization. I just love the name.
Yes, I'd love to. So we're a New York City-based national organization. And as you mentioned, our focus is finding permanent homes for older kids in foster care. And what many people may not be aware of is that there are kids that are aging out of foster care without family, kids who have been freed for adoption, who need a permanent home. And so that's the population that we hone in on and that we support, and to help them define the permanent home that they need and deserve.
Yeah, so with that in mind, what are some of the obstacles or myths, of foster care for adoption of older children, the preteens, the young adults?
Right.
Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. I mean, the first thing is that many people just aren't aware that adopting older kids is an option. And a lot of people are mostly focused on adopting little babies. I was actually a baby when I was adopted, so I understand that. But there's so much value in adopting an older kid. And the other piece about it that people don't realize is that adopting from foster care is actually free. People are spending upwards of $30,000 to $40,000 for private adoptions, whereas you can have this amazing experience and add to your family by adopting from foster care without the huge financial burden that comes with a private adoption.
Oh, wow. I think that's key.
Yeah.
I did not know that. You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we certainly know that families comes in all different shapes and sizes. Can you talk to us a little bit about what types of resources You Gotta Believe provides for individuals considering foster care or adoption?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, we train our parents. Our parents go through a 10-week, 30-hour training that I actually have been through myself. So I've been on that side of it. It's a phenomenal training. We even have people who have had biological children themselves that they've raised that have gone through our parent training and have said that this is the type of training that all parents should go through, whether you're adopting from foster care or not. So we provide that support. We walk our parents through the licensing process. We also walk them through the permanency process. So that means identifying a youth that would match with their household. So we don't just drop kids in any household. Mm-hmm. We take a very close look at the parent, the household, whether they have a dog, is there allergies, do they live in the country, do they live in the city, and we really make sure that it's a good fit. And it's all very child-centered, where the youth really has a voice in this entire process. If there's a match that we have in mind that we're comfortable with, we will not move forward with that placement. And what makes us really unique, one of the many things, is that we provide unlimited support free of charge for as long as the family needs it. Mm-hmm. So if we place a youth with a family, if they have an issue 5, 10, 15 years down the line, our staff is here to help them, and we are staffed by credible messengers. So that means that everyone in my program team are either survivors of the foster care system or they've adopted from foster care systems. So they really walk the walk, and they have the ability to provide the type of high-level specialized support that our families and youth need.
Yeah, so Jennifer, let's go back a little bit to the difference between a private adoption and an adoption in the foster care system. You mentioned,
Sure.
There's not as much of a financial burden up front, if you will. So talk a little bit about the differences, and then, I'm sure we always hear about the stereotypes and some of the horror stories, but talk a little bit about some of the solid adoptions that you've championed, some of the success stories
Sure.
that we don't hear about based on a foster care adoption, if you will.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, what I've seen firsthand is that, when these kids are left to age out, and what that means is, depending on where you live, it's either 18 or 21 where you age out in the foster care system. So if you have not been reunited with your biological family, or if you have not been placed with a permanent family in the situation where your parents' rights have been terminated, that means that either at 18 or 21, you're left out on the world on your own without any support systems. So that's why we really focus on this need for permanent homes for kids in foster care. And what I see is that when these kids have the resources that all of us deserve and need, that come with the safety net of a family, they really flourish. And we're really missing out on a lot when we don't provide this support for those kids, because everyone on my staff, all the foster kids that I've come in contact with, they're just a beacon of light. They have so much potential. And without that family support, I know there's a lot that I wouldn't be able to do had I not been adopted. So that's just one of the many reasons why we need to pour into our youth. Sure.
I couldn't imagine being just put out in the world on my own, 18, 21, 30,
Listen.
52.
Listen, 47, still relying on
That's
my
right.
goodness.
And sometimes we forget that, foster youth need the same thing that a lot of other youth need as well, right? Sometimes we stigmatize them. I want to ask you, for our audience of soulmates, what is your pitch around supporting particularly Black and brown foster youth? We know that they are the least to be adopted, particularly as they get older. And so for folks that are watching this right now that are sort of waffling on whether or not they do it now or do it later or don't do it at all, what's your pitch to them?
I would say that we all have to acknowledge that the child welfare system is broken. And as you mentioned, Black and brown children receive the brunt of that brokenness. And we can no longer stand on the sidelines and watch that happen. And there are multiple ways to get involved, right? If you're not ready to adopt, that's fine. Find an organization like You Gotta Believe that you can support either financially, something as simple as reposting a social media post, as spreading awareness, simply as having conversation to let people know that this is a possibility, that you can adopt older kids, that there is a value that they bring to this community, that they can bring a value to your family, that this is a way that we can combat the way in which the child welfare system has really failed our Black and brown youth.
Yeah, and you talked about support. Tell us how we can, get in touch, link up, maybe follow you across social media to offer up that support in whichever way we can offer as soulmates to your program.
I appreciate that. On Twitter, we're at Adopt Older Kids. And we're also on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. And just please come check us out, where our website is yougotabelieve.org. There's a lot of information there. You can reach out to us at any time. If you can just give us a call. If you have any questions, there's no pressure to support. We're happy to walk you through the process or answer any questions you may have about adopting from foster care.
Our thanks to you, Jennifer Pinder, the Executive Director of You Gotta Believe. Go to yougotabelieve.org. We certainly believe in you. Thank you for believing in us.
Thank you so
Beautiful
much.
work, sister. Thank you so much. We'll have you back for sure.
Thank you.
Indeed.
Absolutely. Thank you. Anytime.